Okay, so I only want to cover about 8 more slides here. I'm not going to do all of them here. What do we see basically from these previous 2 basically videos that I've made for you? Well, what we see is that there is a distinct, with respect to quantity, there is an advantage to moving first, but that's not the case with respect to price. The firm that moves second basically is going to undercut the price charged by the first, and it's going to capture a larger market share. The Nash equilibrium, again, if we compare this competition versus collusion, and this is an important kind of distinction here, is that the Nash equilibrium, the non-cooperative equilibrium, the competitive equilibrium basically, doesn't give you as much profit than if you were able to collude. Unfortunately, firms are not legally able to collude with one another. And collusion itself, even if they were legally permitted to do it, we know based on game theory that no firm would face an incentive to do that. Each firm would face an incentive to defect or do what's best in their own best interest. And as we kind of take this further then, no, you don't need to worry about 205. Don't worry about 206 or 207 or 208. Okay. But these are then the last few slides I want you to worry about. Collusion in general will lead to greater profits. This is certainly the case, but no firm faces an incentive to remain in a collusionary environment for a long time. Each faces an incentive to defect. And basically that's what I was saying in the third point here, right? That once you get collusion, each player faces a strong incentive to defect, and by defecting they could actually enhance their profit more. Now, rather than having explicit collusion, you could have predictable behavior, and that over time firms would actually get into kind of a routine, and they would know what the other is going to charge, and the other firm would also be agreeable to that charge as well. You might think that this would be the case at, like, Chicago's O'Hare Airport, where like United dominates and American dominates, that those 2 airlines basically have their prices for two different locations, and that they've always charged those prices. Now, how does that change? That market could change a lot if a new firm enters and kind of basically breaks up the routine. A Southwest entering the Chicago market could make the markets more aggressive, and then collusion not possible. And then in those situations where the firms are aggressive and collusion is not possible, then the prices are going to be responses to their competitors. We're going to use something more aligned, the Bertrand model, and the prices themselves will be quite rigid. Okay, that's actually the last of what I want to cover here, and the last of what you'll be responsible for. Okay, so basically you're responsible up to slide 211, with a few skipped before that. You can skip then slides, making sure here that I'm not 205 through 208. You can skip those. Okay, that ends basically the last of the theoretical material to cover.